We are the creators of reality. Those who have mastered perseverance, those who thrive despite attempts to thwart us, those who make magic at the root of the very trees they hung us from. We are the mountains and the rivers. We are the sun and the moon. We are sand and gems. We are the first and the final. We be big and small. We be light and dark. We be seasoned and youthful. We be sensual and sacred. Those gifted and divine. Those powerful and radical. Those vibrant and ancestral. We are the creators of reality. We are the Black Oasis. Welcome to the Black Oasis podcast. I'm your host, Kaya Supreme, and this is the place where we lay it all down. And today's guest is absolutely stunning, if you can't tell. But not only is she beautiful outside, she's beautiful inside. You see some of that art? Look at her background, y'all. Look at, ooh! Now, let me tell you something. As a creative, there's something so special and soft about creative people, about people who make things with their hands or their minds or just like spiritual expression through any kind of medium. And this woman, not only is she soft and loving and caring, but she makes some of the most beautiful art. I think we connected and vibe on that level. Anytime we're together, anytime we hang out, we laugh so much, swap stories, but really just always end up talking about the spirit of a thing or the emotion of a thing or how something made us feel. And I really cherish and value those sisterhoods that I have. And so, without further ado, the magnanimous, the divine, the fantastic, the beautiful, the creative vessel, Iolani! Woo, 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 woo. And known to some as the beautiful Hadia Kifa Watani. So, Io, please, why don't you just give us a little background about who you be? Where are you from? What makes you you? What have you seen, felt, experienced that makes you the vessel that you are right now?
Wow. Well, first off, thanks for that. That's the best introduction I think I ever gotten. But
I hope so.
so thank you for that. You always hype me up higher. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you. So Iolani Reed from the BX, Boogie Down South Bronx,
Okay.
old Yankee Stadium, not the new one. For those who know, you know.
Oh,
Um,
rep your cycle.
yes. And you said what makes me me?
Yeah. Who you be?
Who I be? Uh, Grew up in a one-parent household, first class sergeant, crazy Caribbean, sweetheart in the same breath too. St. Thomas, Master, what's up? Um, yeah, I think my mom played a part in how I grew up. Um, because she was always loving, but she always had a firm hand. She went from the Army Reserves into teaching, and then I think that's where I got my love for teaching. She was also one of those mothers where it was like, I will be damned if you become a statistic and end up teenage pregnancy, drug dealer's daughter. So you're about to go into all of these different programs. So I was a child actress up until about 18, 19. I was a tennis player, art, anything you could think of, I was in. But I
Wow.
think the most impact I was a teacher from the age, I can't put it on my resume, but I taught from like 6th grade. I was holding classes in 6th grade because my mom was like, you got to come straight after school. And as a matter of fact, I need to go use the bathroom. So you're going to teach them because you know how to do it already. And y'all better respect my daughter or else I'm coming with zeros. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to mothers who put us in things and try to figure our stuff out. Because I mean, now you can say, look, I mean, these are things, talents, gifts that you now have access to later on in life,
Hmm.
and so do you feel like you were? So I'm sorry, everybody. She's a teacher by profession. So, like, do you feel like teaching, like you were born to teach, or what is it about that art form? Because I think teaching is an art form in particular that that's has sustained you so far in life.
Yeah, this is my 18th year.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's not counting before, but it's the 18th year. Um, when I think about it, I will say that I think I was called to do something with the development of a child.
Yeah.
Um, I don't believe in the classroom. Um, it's ran by the system of
Hmm.
education. I do not agree with the system of education. Um, but I do believe in the development of a child and showing a child their true beauty, their
Mm.
own, the power that they possess. And that's like what has been driving me through what can be a very toxic field.
Yeah.
And I know one of your questions is about desert, experience in desert. I think that's where I've experienced my most desert experience, because it's a field that they demand you. They don't even ask nicely. They demand you to pour.
Yeah.
And being a teacher, most of us, we pour um, from the heart without any problem. But to be demanded to pour on top of what you already give naturally
Hmm.
and nothing left to pour back into you, there's no sense of reciprocity.
Mm.
And not to mention that it's a system where it's meant to subjugate a marginalized people. It's
Hmm.
meant to conform a marginalized people. It's not meant to elevate or recognize that a people has a power
Right.
that we need to pour into and grow, because it will elevate a larger community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what has been driving me from the long run.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like we have to be considered valuable in order for a perspective to be had, that like in order for us to be seen in a way that thinks about the big picture of what we can contribute.
Hmm.
But when you're automatically commodified, when you're automatically seen as um, I would just say less than,
Hmm.
you're seen as less than, then, then the intention is to make sure that you stay there. But, that's kind of funny to me because it's like, if you weren't really worried about a people and you weren't really worried and you thought people were less than you, then why work so hard to keep them
To keep it
disjointed and
down.
disconnected? There must be some sort there. So you must know something, but you know what? The powers that be know the thing that you and I know and that so many others know. And I hope that all of us know eventually is that we are creators. We are the creators. We are divine. We are powerful. Then that's again, that's why we're living proof of that, because you and I are both Black women who've grown up in various systems, made it through the system of education, patriarchy, white supremacy, whatever
Hmm.
social construct or system or whatever institution that you can name, we've survived and we actually thrive so much that we can create things and
Hmm.
birth things and make new things and still do what we were created to do in spite of all the muck and mire. So I hear you saying you go through this desert and the teaching pulls and pulls. And I know that it's so hard, especially with children. I was a nanny for 13 years, working in an intimate setting. I
Hmm.
also studied education and know that everything from the standardized testing to all the red tape and protocols that you all have to meet beyond just actually connecting emotionally and mentally with the child. How do you take care of it? How do you hydrate yourself? How do you replenish yourself? How do you stay balanced? How do you stay in it for 18 years? That's such a long time.
It's surreal to even say it out loud, right? Um, there have been times where I I don't know. Um, recently, so I could be transparent. I had a breakdown last year, a bad breakdown in the middle of the lobby of the school,
Hmm.
yelling at leadership. Y'all don't give a F about our kids. Stop
Mhm.
acting like you do, you white saviors, and da 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 da. And my colleagues heard me, and
Mm.
was one of them walked in on me like about to flip tables, literally. And she called a few other colleagues down who grabbed me up real quick and they was like, you got to pull it together. But it was the moment when I realized I was doing too much. And I
Yeah.
and people will say, "Oh, you care too much," in which I will say, "Because these are my kids.
Mhm.
I spend 8 hours a day with these children,
Mhm.
and they are the future of my community. I
Mhm.
come from these communities, and I'll be damned if this community keeps on with the cycle." But all that to say, I realized in a way in which I was giving too much and not pouring back in.
Yeah.
And there was a way in which I was giving too much without, and I started to lose sense of gratitude.
Mm.
And I think the next year I came in real light and flowy, and being able to accept only the things that I can change
Yeah.
and not worrying about the things that I knew were out of my hands.
Mhm.
Um, so I started getting it from my students.
Yeah.
I had a poetry course that I was running for 11th graders, and I forced them kids to write. And like one of the things in my classroom is you finna express one way or another. We
Mhm.
will be expressing today. And it got to the point where some of their pieces were so raw and
Mm.
real. One of my students had a poem about his mom. He takes care of his mom who's sick. And the way that he wrote it, it reminded me of a time that I'm going through with my mother. And I started crying. Like I had to walk out the class. And he caught on when they're like, "What's happening to her? What's happening?" And I'm bawling outside like a baby. And I came back in and I just nodded. I just pointed at him. And he said, he came up in the middle of the class and he hugged me. And he's like, "I got you, miss. We here for each other."
Mm.
And I think that's where I started to feel like the pouring in. I'm not going to get it from the adults, but I'm
Yeah.
damn sure going to get it from these kids.
Yeah.
Right. So it became the creative spaces within an institution that doesn't believe in creativity
Right.
that I started to replenish myself along with exercising. That was the other part too.
That's dope because you built it into the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and as a result, we're able to find a way to work around the demands because the system, if it does change, and it has evolved, but will change at its own rate, at its own speed. We might
Mm-hmm.
not live to see certain things. We hope we do. But to have peace is the most important aspect of our reality. I think no matter what you do, like I love Harriet Tubman. Everybody know this, but because that's my marker right there. That's my marker for excellence, Harriet Tubman, because against all the odds, every odd ever created, all the
Mm-hmm.
this woman was able to press through like health issues, slavery, like even just the own demise and the own internalized self-hatred of the people she was trying to save, like all these things. And I just hope, I'm like, if she when she transitioned, she had to have had peace. I hope she had peace to
Mm-hmm.
know, that her not her legacy, but her work of liberating would live on. And I think that's what educators do. They liberate, they heal, they nurture, they grow. And so it's just beautiful to see how passionate you are, that you care enough to risk your. Because listen, it could have went another way. You could have not walked in that school, and you could have not walked in that school next year at all, much less light. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I think your work and your value speaks and covers you in those moments, but you found a solution through love that also benefits the seeds that you're watering.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, let's talk about this. What does Hadia mean?
Oh, it means her gifts lead us to righteousness.
Well,
Yep.
we're gonna say less. We're gonna say less. And so, how has community impacted your process? How has community impacted your life? And I mean, like all your people,
Mm-hmm.
mama, auntie, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Um, Whew, okay. Uh, so, and it's funny you said mama because being a single parent,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't use that as an excuse. She
Mm-hmm.
brought in community. I was raised by army family, blood family, God parent, whole building, whole block. Community was deep before I got to Ndugu and Zinga. Um, to community in High Bridge, almost getting jumped by the Bloods and being like
Have
and
you?
having yeah. I was in sixth grade, y'all. Quick.
Please tell us. Please tell us.
I was in sixth grade. I went to a Catholic school in the middle of High Bridge, and I had on burgundy. And this blood dude was like, "Yo, rep your set." And I looked at him, looked at my uniform. I said, "Bro, learn your colors. This is burgundy, not red. Stop pressing me." And then that's when my community of peers came, like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, bro. So, she don't know no better."
Not 11. Why was he pressing a child in a young lady at that? Like, you're weird. Like, it can never be that serious. Mr. Blood, sir, if you're watching, I respect your community, but chill. Like
But
that's a lot.
chill. But that's how I really got one. But I was 11 years old about talking about you need to learn your colors. But anyway, all that to say, like community has helped me in the sense of knowing. I wrote a quote next to this where it says, "Eyes can't see themselves."
Mm-hmm.
Um, the community helps me to see myself. And a true community sees me in my process of learning to accept and see and know myself.
Yeah.
When it comes to my development, there's places in which I've been blessed with a community that has shielded me from places in which I could have very much lost my life. And sorry for the ums. I'm trying.
Girl, you fine.
Yeah. And ultimately, they have loved me enough to forgive me where I've fallen short. I can
Mm-hmm.
be very sharp at the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a fighter and a half, and that's all because of pent up emotions and not knowing how to navigate through the things I was feeling. I wasn't given the tools at the time. And the beautiful thing about community is it adds on people that insight that you need in those moments of your life. So, although my family may not have provided me with the tools I needed as far as navigating emotions, eventually I was blessed with a community of Ndugu and Zinga who taught me to navigate those emotions. And it continues to add on to even now being in a new school building where they acknowledge the aesthetics that I bring to the table, and they understand the vision that I have where it's like, no, we're going to do this as a community. We're going to utilize the gifts of everyone and we're going to beautify this space and elevate this space for everyone. So I'm learning how not to isolate anymore and embrace community, even in places where they have hurt me,
Mm-hmm.
and just realizing that it's just a whole bunch of humans going through it together. So just
Listen,
as they've been there for me, I have to learn how to be a good community member in seeing them in the places where they fall short and helping them through their journey as well. So it's reciprocity in the same breath too.
listen. I was talking to shout out to Baba Omatosho Dojamani. I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so, and we were talking about it's the best analogy I've ever heard. Like all I can't. We were talking about how we have spiritual practices and we have health practices. Like our lifestyle is like a diaper.
Hmm.
Like we know kids, right? What do kids do before they're potty trained?
They
They defecate,
excuse
right?
me.
But it doesn't bother us, right? Why? Because we expect it. Like you don't have the expectation that a 1 month old is going to be potty trained. You don't even have the expectations for some 2 year olds. It
Mhm.
depends. And depending upon the package, and even as we get older, we have the expectation and hope that people will discard their shit properly and be healthy and clean and wash hands. Right. Our spiritual practice, our lifestyle, our our tools, our toolkit is a
Mm.
diaper. Because if you're going to people, if people gonna be peopling, people gonna shit. And so he was telling and pressing me, not to like have a healing ritual as a result of something that's taken place, but to always be in healing ritual so that when something
Mm.
does take place, I'm already full. And so my question is, what, like, when you look at education, you look at the education system, what are some things that we can make a diaper for our children? Like, what are some things that we could put in place to catch the shit as it falls? Because I know you've probably experienced and heard and had some children confide in some precious things to you, and your things that you just wanted to scoop them up out of. And so from
Mm.
your sight, right, and from your eyes, what are some things that everyone can do to prepare and equip our children in an emotional and mentally, spiritually sound way?
Mm. That's so good. First off, listen. There's a way, and let me back up. Not listen to fix.
Hmm.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Cause there's a way in which, especially our children now, I'm getting chills. Like,
I'm sorry. Just that was good, girl. Don't listen to it. I'm listening.
oh my gosh. Because especially the children nowadays, yes, they have loving households, many of them. Some of them don't have households at all. But they're going through this internally. They're talking with their peers who are on the same level as them.
Hmm.
And there's no one to kind of like stretch their sight.
Hmm.
And these are they are bomb, like these young kids. I work with high schoolers mainly too, but children in general, when you talk to them, they are smarter and
Hmm.
beyond their years than we give enough credit to.
Yeah.
But they just don't seem to have the outlets anymore to have discourse
Hmm.
or just to have a sounding board.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we need to just listen,
Yeah.
right? And then just hold space. One of the things that I do, I braid a lot of my boys' hair. I had to step back a little bit because I'm going through a transition. But after school, Miss Iolani, as they say, or Miss Reed, can you do my hair? Can you do my locks? And they sit there and they talk about their girls, sex, drugs, whatever. And I'm not in teacher mode anymore,
Hmm.
where it's like, oh, you shouldn't do drugs. It's
Hmm.
just more so like get listening to understand
Hmm.
and create that safe space. Some of my students don't want to talk. They sleep. It's a safe space. Just let them be,
Hmm.
right? And then I think the other component is this society moves so fast in a way in which we're expecting our kids to be older than what they are that they forget to be kids.
Yeah.
Let them create.
Yeah.
One of my classes, I was like, we're going to color these mandalas. Color. I say, yeah, y'all need to work on your motor skills anyway. Yes, we coloring. And the way that the classroom just felt so at ease. You know what I mean? They don't get a chance to play anymore.
Yeah.
So allowing them to explore art
Yeah.
of any form is also beautiful, whether it's through words, painting, coloring, because it gives them a chance to maneuver through those emotions too. It's a form of meditation, it's a form of reflection, and they don't realize that they're doing it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I would say the last component is putting those seeds in. You know, you have a book that has a dope lesson about life. Help them read the book. There's a song with a message. Introduce them to that song.
Yeah.
Get it to them the best way they can because they don't really know their spiritual practices yet. So to
Mm.
come out, God is, and they might
Mhm.
ask you, who the hell is God? All
Mhm.
right, bet. But we're gonna have this. We're gonna read this book, The Alchemist,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
We're gonna paint a picture, and you're gonna figure out who God is through you. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how small the seed is. What's I'm not good at quoting verses from the Bible, but that
Ma'am.
that tiny seed.
The mustard seed.
The mustard seed.
You say you got the wrong one, baby. I don't know either. But faith the size of a mustard seed.
Come on now.
Something.
Exactly. Something, something. But
Mhm.
if you're planting a seed as small as a mustard seed or as big as an avocado seed, it don't matter. Plant it. You know what I mean?
I will run away from this podcast right now. It don't matter. And you know what? Oh, speaking of seeds, and this is one of my favorite things about seeds. Did you know that some seeds have to be burnt? They have to like go through fire in order to blossom, or some seeds have to be digested by an animal and then defecated out in order to to germinate to bear fruit. Did you know that?
So they gotta go through hell and bullshit. Some
Bullshit. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
even my bird felt it. Like
I heard even like literally in order to manifest and germinate
I
their fruit
had.
must be scratched. Some have to have super high heat, some have to have low. It depends on, and every seed is different. Every
Mm,
seed is different. Some seeds just don't germinate, you know? But the the ones that do get the opportunity to, and the ones that do grow and the ones that bear fruit, their next automatic thing is to release more seeds. That's just what it does.
wow.
So for you're the water. You the water, you the sun, you might be the animal, we are all depending upon how God orchestrates us and where God places us and puts us. I might be the animal today that has to, not intentionally because I wouldn't, but I'm just saying our people, the things, our trials and tribulations, they're still serving us.
Mm-hmm.
It's still for you. Even if it hurts, it's still for you. Ooh. Now you know what we
Yeah.
talked about before we got on here.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Uh, so there's something about learning what kind of seed you are, learning what kind of seed you are that will save your life. Will save your
Yeah.
life. And so thank God for spiritual contracts. Thank God for community. Thank God for sisters and
Mm.
brothers and non-gender conforming folks. And thank God for just pit bulls and parrots and mamas. Just thank God because all those things are a part of our germination process.
Yeah.
So I ask everybody the same question at the very end. If you had one wish for Black people that could come true tomorrow, go to sleep, wake up, come true tomorrow, what would it be?
Hmm. Oh man. Okay. See, that's what a Libra kicking in again. You said one. So one. I wish for us to heal. May I say my initial response is seeing our power,
Mm-hmm.
but then I had to think about it because before we can even see our greatness, we have to heal.
That's a word.
There's a way in which we're still stuck because we're still stuck.
Yeah.
We have to heal the centuries of, like, I don't even want to get into all of it, but like slavery, like all of
Mm-hmm.
that. We have to, there's stuff that we still carry,
Mm-hmm.
that that's in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's stuff that we carry when it comes to how we feel about families. We don't talk enough about rape and molestation within families, and how some of our family members are here today because of rape and molestation.
Girl.
And that's a whole different topic, but like we don't talk about it enough, so therefore we haven't acknowledged it to even begin to heal it. And because we haven't began to heal it, we haven't created the tools that we need to save future communities. So before we can do anything else, I would love to save wealth and power and elevation and but the root, I really wish for us to intentionally heal first. So that way we could create the pathway to then allow everything, because we have it. It's there already.
Yeah.
But a hard heart cannot be, you can't plant anything in concrete.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
harder. It takes longer.
Unless it's black.
Well,
But
I mean,
we have to be careful of this comfort driven society that we live in, because although black women in particular, um, black men, black people, black trans folk, black cisgender folk, black everybody black.
mhm.
Um, so I was about to say black men in particular, but I don't. I've been talking to a lot of black men recently, and everybody's in pain. Everybody's in pain,
Mhm.
and experiencing hurt, and carrying trauma. But it's so funny because the society will have you running from the very thing that will heal you, which is the discomfort. Like I
Yep.
could I could order a car tomorrow and it show up at my house if I have the means. Like, we don't have to. You don't never have to leave your home. You can order groceries. You can order all the clothes you want. You're not gonna wear them nowhere, but you can make a TikTok video with them on. People think you don't wear it somewhere. I mean, it's like all these comforting, ease things. And I'm all for a soft life, so I'm not saying that because I believe I deserve that. But at the same time, when it comes time to doing the work, if you break your leg, they might have to reset that mug first before you put it in a cast. And you don't want to go
Mhm.
to the doctor because you don't want to hear any bad news, or you don't want to go to the doctor because they might touch it and it's going to hurt. You have to. And so that healing process is scary to people and daunting. And I pray that your wish comes true and that people get the strength and the brave and the examples of
Mm.
what living a healthy life looks like, so they desire it too, because there is no destination in healing. There's just, it's forever. It's forever. But we don't want to pass down this trauma to our
Nope.
seeds as things that we want to break cycles, break patterns, break negative cycles and negative patterns, and reinforce positive cycles and positive patterns. So I'm here. I support that wish. And
Shay.
I do believe it's happening
It is.
in pockets throughout the world. It's happening. It's happening enough for us to have created this. And then whoever watches it, they'll be blessed
Touche.
too. Because you blessed me today, child. Thank you.
Hey, the way
Thank
you
you.
bless me. Come on. Every day,
Listen,
Kaya.
listen. Thank you for just number one. Thank you for being flexible. Thank you for being willing. Thank you for being beautiful. Thank you for caring too much.
Mm.
Thank you for caring too much, because that's what we need. And thank you for being invested in being your best self, so that your care comes out in the most effective way. You press. And I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love you. Wish you nothing but the best. I
Thank
hope
you.
your transition that may happens, and I get to see you all the time. I pray for that. However, I can accept whatever the spirit decides. I'm mature enough to do that. Anyway, I love you. I love you.
Love you
I love
too.
you. And I hope you have a phenomenal, phenomenal week.
You too, Queen.
Thank you, everybody, for supporting and listening to Black Oasis. Make sure that you are following and subscribed on all the socials. On Facebook, it's at Black Oasis. On Instagram, it's at Black Oasis ATL. I know I wanted it to be the same across the board, but some stuff was taken. On YouTube, it's at Black Oasis. We be
Mm.
on Spotify. We be on Apple Podcasts. We be on iHeartRadio. We be on Amazon Jounce. We be on all them things. You could just Google Black Oasis Podcast and it's going to come right up.
Heard
Bless
you.
your heart. So thank you for listening. Pass it on to somebody you love. And until next time, stay black, but you don't have a choice. And lucky you.
Peace.
Peace.